The Truth About Bleaching, Episode 2. In the first episode, we thoroughly enjoyed speaking to those at Grassroot, professionals, and those affected by skin bleaching. In this episode, we continue on our quest and we dig a bit deeper into this controversial topic. If you haven't already, make sure you check out episode 1 and do like, comment, subscribe, and share. Hi, Dr. Franklin.
Hi, Lola. How are you doing today?
Fine. How are you?
I'm great.
Cool. Your skin is flawless.
So is yours.
We're trying. Okay, I'm going to just dive straight in.
All right.
Recently, I went to the market. I wanted to have an idea of the kind of products that the mass market are using. I mean, I have an idea of the Lecky, VI side of things, like the high-end, let's say good skin toning, lightening creams or procedures.
Okay.
I wanted to know at the grassroots what people are using, because the stats show that, of course, a lot of Nigerians are bleaching and a lot of Nigerians aren't rich, so they're still buying cream. So I wanted to show you some of the things that I got. I want you to have a look at the ingredients and tell me some things that stand out to you that you think may be harmful or are not good bleaching.
Yeah, there's no translation to English, so I wouldn't recommend, but we'll speak on the ones that are clearly written in
Let me
English.
just get them out.
Right.
Well, you remember what you read?
Yes, I did. This is good. Yeah, so the first one we saw, the orange colored one, and contains hydroquinone. And there's this perception about hydroquinone, which we all know, and but scientifically, hydroquinone is meant to be a product or an ingredient that helps to prevent melanin formation. Okay, ideally it was meant to help with dermatological disorders where you have dyschromias, or you can have pigment disorders, but we've managed to abuse this ingredient and made it something that is kind of bad in our society right now. As a doctor, I still prescribe hydroquinone, okay, but we prescribe in controlled quantities and concentrations, so usually 2 to 4%. But a lot of these over-the-counter products contain wrong information there. So you can have people putting more than 4%, which is the recommended concentration, in this product, and they lie. And when you even do a chemical analysis on some of these products, you find out that they contain a very, very controlled product, mercury. Mercury is the one that's a no-no for everybody, especially in the healthcare sector, because we can have neurological abnormalities as long-term complications. Hydroquinone is still the biggest and the most abused among these skincare ingredients. That's because I think it's readily available, and the effects are not on short-term basis, they are long-term. So we have, on short-term, we might have things like dermatitis, which comes and goes. But the most important one is something we call exogenous ochronosis. It's like a blue-black pigment, which is noticed on, if you go to Lagos Island, you see some ladies,
like a burn almost.
Yes, on their faces. So that is very difficult to treat. That's a condition where dermatologists, aesthetic physicians are still thinking of how, or thinking about a protocol to treat. But like I said, hydroquinone, I'm not totally against it, but I would not recommend you buying it over the counter without your doctor's prescription.
Because I once, I had hyperpigmentation on my face at a point, and they treated it. I used an Obagi hyperpigmentation treatment, and of course it had hydroquinone in it. Sure. But it was like a 3-month period, and after that, I wasn't able to use it.
So when you speak with a doctor or a health practitioner who knows much about this ingredient, they give you duration. To tell you the right way to use this. Use it twice daily, use it only at night. Please use the sunscreen, do not use for more than 3 months. You know, there are certain things they say to you which you don't get when you buy them at the market. Do you understand? Because at the end of the day, it's a drug. And if abused, you are going to suffer the consequences.
So would you say it's a no-no in general to use such, I don't know whether to say basically these kind of ingredients are meant to be prescribed?
True.
So is it these kind of products that people are using daily for years? Is that a no-no then?
It's a no-no because you ought to speak to your dermatologist or your doctor before you buy these things.
Are any of these ingredients actually banned in Nigeria to buy over the counter, so to speak, without prescription?
I'm not to know of now. But I know mercury. It should be banned everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you suggest that we have some kind of tighter regulations on the importation of some of these?
Certainly. Like we just saw a product which I might even be wrong, might not be Mandarin. Okay, we just saw a product written in that language, and we don't even know what we are looking at. We don't know the products, we don't know the concentrations. Do you understand? These things could damage your skin, and it's not just, when I mean damage, it's not just about the pigmentary conditions we're talking about. We could talk about skin cancer. Some of these things could be carcinogenic, like the exogenous onchronosis I spoke about. Yeah, it has potential to be carcinogenic on the long term.
Meaning?
Could cause cancer.
Okay.
Right. So, like I said, it's always best to speak to your doctor. I know these things sound quite trivial, or just go to the market, buy a lightening cream or bleaching cream, but there's more to it.
There is more to it.
Exactly.
So that brings me to the next question. Are there safer ways to lighten, brighten, tone your skin?
Yes, there are. Okay, with more information, we got to find out that there are natural ingredients such as kojic acid, all right, vitamin C, glutathione, that could do some of these things. But again, like I mentioned, it has to be used in the recommended amount, recommended duration, okay? And the only person that can give you this is a skincare consultant. You understand? So, I'm more of the word bleaching is what has a certain,
Negative
tag to it. Yeah. So, we use the word brightening. Okay, so skin brightening for the natural ones. Then, yeah.
When patients normally come in and they have like skin issues, what are they normally trying to achieve or treat? Is it actually like a lighter skin, or that's not what most people come in for?
Yes, we have a number of people who walk in and all they just want is, I want a lighter skin. So that's where the education part has to be very important. You have to sit them down and you have to talk, you have to ask questions, you have to answer questions in order to, for them to understand better that you can achieve a better skin tone, but it's not always safe to bleach your skin.
Okay, there's something as well that I spoke about with someone, and they mentioned that there's a particular market that you can go to, and even when you're walking through that market, there are literally people saying, come for your injections, come for your I cannot pronounce the word, glutathione injections, you'll get lighter 7 days. Please tell me more about these injections. There's tablets people are taking. I'm hearing drips. Like, can I know the facts regarding these type of things?
Same thing. I've heard those things, and all I know is a lot of these tablets injections contain glutathione, but I think most of them are unsafe amounts. Okay, because you can't just be walking by the road and a market, which is an unhygienic place to be, and someone tells you, come for your injection. You already know that's an unsafe thing to do. And even, let's remove sterility from it and whatnot. The dosage is not recommended. It's not regulated. Those things can damage you. You could have a lot of it in a syringe, like concentration-wise, and then before you know, you have something called phlebitis. Your vein gets inflamed. So you need to speak to your doctor at every point regarding these things, especially when it comes to invasive procedures.
But these injections, tablets, drips, do they work? I mean, forget about even the market. Are these? Some people are even saying that in Hollywood they bleach as well, but it's different. It's more developed. They use different types of treatments. So I want to know about those kind of treatments.
So, good skin care would always look good to the eyes. All right. If you take care of your skin is going to look polished. You're going to look really good.
Look like you, basically.
All right. So, the bleaching is a worldwide phenomenon. It actually started in the Cleopatra and the Elizabethan era, all right, and progressed gradually into Europe and then finally down here, and it's here to stay. That's just the truth. But we're trying to work to, remove and educate people to know better. All right. So yes, some of those injections work, but when you compare the efficacy to the side effect, all right, you notice that the side effects are higher than the results you actually get. So I don't think it's worth it at all.
Last question. So in regards to this topic that I'm trying to fact find and get opinions on, skin lightening, toning, bleaching, brightening, whatever you want to call it. If you had to say a couple of sentences or a phrase about that topic, what would you say?
It's a sensitive area, but I'm going to say speak to your doctor at every point in time before you go on with that journey. All right. So he's going to or he or she is going to advise you what is the best line to take in order to avoid side effects, because whichever route you decide to take, you have to weigh their side effect against the result and know which is better for you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Great.
Thanks for talking to me. Thanks. It was great sitting down with a professional, somebody that specializes in skin. It's really important because most of us, the ordinary person, may not know the implications of some of these products and what it can do to the skin if abused. In episode 1, Dr. Vivian stated that bleaching wasn't only done by women. Men also do take part. For that reason, I wanted to sit down with James Brown, a content creator and entertainer, to find out the relationship he has with his skin and also with skincare products. Hi, James Brown. How are you doing?
Fine.
You look cute.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to dive straight in, okay? I wanted to ask you, what's your experience been like with your skin?
I have so much experience on skincare because basically there's a time in my life where I was this young, 16, 15, and I needed to look comfortable with my skin. I felt like I was getting darker. I was using all different type of bleaching cream. I mean, I felt white or matching everything together. So during that time, it was very epic for me. I mean, basically it was a breakdown. I was able to recover by just not using the cream and stuff like that. But now I think I'm in a fine place when it comes to my skin. So I'm just trying to wrap my head around it. Yeah.
Okay, so from what I'm hearing, you're saying that when you were a bit younger, you started using bleaching cream.
Yeah.
But now, what cream are you using at the moment?
Right
is it
now,
still a toning or bleaching?
Cream right now,
okay.
just to get my skin to like heal.
Okay.
And things like that. But basically, when I was young, growing up, I was fair. So I was fair, but there's this thing about me in my past where my aunt got involved. I mean, when you stay with your family member doesn't like you around, they maltreat you, beat you and stuff. So there's this different type of mark, pain, and cane and everything. So most of the time I see these things, it give me this bad memory. So I want to use the cream to clean them off. So most times bad memory.
So you were fair? Then you had marks that you were
a
trying
lot of
to get rid of.
Yeah.
So you were using bleaching and toning cream to try and get rid of those marks.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So what do you think about bleaching in general? Like, what's your opinion on bleaching and toning?
I think most people have reasons why they do it. Mine was also my marks. Why most people want to become fair? Why most people want to just stand out in public? Or why most people they're not confident in their black skin or something. So I feel like there must be a good reason you want to bleach, not just to do it for fun or something. Most times I feel so much comfortable in my skin. Like I feel like that skin must be popping. I mean, it must be, especially when the sunlight is there. I mean, it's like, oh my god, the old magic is walking now, baby. I love it. I mean, it's like, oh my god, bitch, what's this song? And I'm like, I love my skin. But I'm not going to show my numbers and everything. Yeah.
And to be honest, that's quite a common issue. You're obviously not the only person.
No, I'm not the only person.
There's suffering from discoloration, hyperpigmentation, dark knuckles. It does happen, yeah? When we think about skin bleaching, we often think about the products. But I really wanted to dig deeper and think more about the thought process. Why do people bleach? Why do people want to bleach? And why is the industry constantly growing? For that reason, I was so delighted to sit down and have a conversation with a psychologist, someone that could talk to us a bit more about the mind. Hi, Dr. Jessica.
Hi, Lola.
How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you.
You look fabulous, first
Thank
of all.
you. So do you. Thank you for having me.
No, I was going to say thank you for having us. I mean, the things you've achieved in your field, absolutely amazing. So I'm so glad that I get to speak to you.
Thank you.
Because during this documentary, it's great to have opinions, just personal opinions, but it's also nice to sometimes have professional information on this thing. So we don't trivialize it. So I've spoke to a lot of people during this journey, and a lot of people have given me their opinions, their reasons for why they wish to change the appearance of their skin. Now, I'm not talking about like general skincare, looking after your skin so it'll be glowing. I'm talking about intentionally and almost extremely changing the
Yeah,
color
of
of
your
your skin.
skin.
Normally from being a darker shade of brown to a lighter shade. So I wanted to know, is there a mental reason for why people may choose to do this?
I actually believe that there is, and I think statistics proves that point. So the World Health Organization pretty much says that 40% of the world does skin bleaching, but in Nigeria our number is very high. We're at 77%. And for me it begins with, our way of thinking. So your emotional and cognitive abilities to see your worth is what we call self-esteem. Okay. So it has to do with the way someone thinks and also the way that they feel. So if you feel that your skin is ugly, or if you feel that, somebody that's lighter could be more acceptable to society, seen as something else, then you would now change it. So I think it has a lot to do with your mental aspect and the way that you view and you think of yourself.
Okay, so would you say, we're in Nigeria, we're in Lagos, we're in a hot country. Mm-hmm. A lot of us are going to be darker. We're not I would understand maybe the colorism aspect if we were now in the white man's land, so to speak. You'd want to be lighter because they're light there. But we're in Nigeria and we're naturally dark. So I'm trying to understand why we would, in our own space, want to be lighter when there's kind of no need for it in
I think
area.
In Nigeria and also the world, but specifically talking about Nigeria, it's like you said, colorism and shadism, which is the difference of skin tones, but in the same race. So that's where you hear, I'm black, but I'm dark skinned and you're light skinned. So it's almost a segregation of different skin tones. And because society has deemed people that are fairer to be more beautiful, to be purer, to be innocent, to be more rich, someone that's dark skinned would now think, okay, in order for me to be more accepted in society and to be prettier, then I should maybe lighten my skin or change it. Because like I said, where we think of all the positive aspects of being lighter, when we think of someone that's darker, we think of maybe someone that's, harmful, threat, that's ugly. Those are the things that we associated with being black or darker. And it not necessarily is that.
Okay, so I've spoke to some people that have said that bleaching of the skin or lightening your skin, it's been here forever. Like before even, it's been here for so long that it's never going to go away. Now, what I wanted to kind of find out, has it always actually been in Nigeria? Have we always felt the need to be lighter? Or is it something that happened with colonialism? And
it may have, because you have people that come in, they're the ones that colonize the country. And then you now feel like, this is what is more acceptable. Or these people, I want to be like them, I want to be free. And in order for me to be free, I need to look like this, because we've associated being black with slavery and freedom with being white. So if I make my skin lighter, if I change my appearance more in one way or the other, it would now make society accept me more, because society is portraying lighter, fairer, or what we hear is even skin tone, or blemish free. And blemish free is literally correcting your skin for one thing or the other.
Can it be an addiction? Can skin lightening be an actual mental problem?
Yeah, it can be. Because our mental health has to do with the way that we think and behave in everyday life, or in the things that we do daily. So for someone that sees that, we have to kind of go back. I always tell people, when there's a problem that you see in front of you, trace it back to what happened to make the person think like that. And that's why I feel like it has that psychological aspect. So was this person darker and was bullied? Were they called ugly? Were they, all types of things where you have people say, okay, African this, and you're from Africa, you came from the boat, your skin is dirty, it's dark. So if you've had that experience from a child, now in adolescence or adulthood, you want to associate with making your skin lighter, because then people wouldn't talk to you the way that they did before. There was a documentary on CNN a few years ago, and I'm not sure if you've seen it, but they had children pretty much identify babies, a light skin, a white and a dark one. And amazingly, they associated ugly, dark, something that was not good with the black baby, and everything that was right with the white baby. And then when they asked the kids which one do you look like? They all look like the black baby. And when they were pointing, there was a bit of hesitation, because it's almost like unconsciously they didn't realize that they were associating what they look like with something that was negative and bad. But society has put that into the faces of children. Before now, companies are now coming out with babies that have different skin tones, coloration, etc. But before, it was white doll babies, white Barbies, but now they're doing, bringing out ones that are darker or that have maybe a handicapped leg, just something to associate with the world entirely.
Okay, no, that's a really valid point. And so that brings me to asking the next question, which is, in order to kind of tackle this issue, is it something that has to happen from when you're a child? Is it to do with development?
I think to be safe, I believe that parenting has a lot to do with the way that we are now. Because a lot of the things that we learned is from early onset, and our parents, their views of life pretty much projected our views unconsciously that we don't know. So for example, even things that go all the way to tribalism, Yorubas versus Igbo, Hausa versus, etc. It may not be that you've actually had that experience, but if your parents have, they now nurture you with their own mindset, and unconsciously you begin to develop thinking that. So I think it's very important from the onset, from early development, parenting, for people to understand, or make their children to understand, that beauty is skin deep. It's about the internal beauty. So not what's on the surface, not what it looks like, but are you happy with yourself? So your self-image, getting people to appreciate how they look, their curves, their scars, whatever it may be, because what it does is facilitates a happy child. And then they don't have to compare themselves. But even if they come in contact with either a bully or someone that now talks bad about their skin, they can confidently say, well, that's how you feel, but I'm beautiful. My mom and my dad tell me I'm beautiful all the time. So I think it's very important for parents to actually have an active role into this, to get kids to understand, yes, there's nothing wrong with the white Barbie, but this is what you look like. So I'm not saying that this one is bad or you're better, so that there's no inferior complex or superior complex for that matter. But this one looks more like you. And this is why I would want you to do that. So I think it's important for parenting to actually do that from onset.
No, definitely. Like I have a daughter myself, and that's one thing that I'm just trying to ensure that I don't project any insecurities I may have or I grew up knowing onto her. And it can be things as simple as skin. Like some people are wondering, like, what color is she going to no, seriously, what color is she going to be? Like, oh, so is she light skinned? Is she brown? And I'm almost like, why does it matter?
Yeah.
What are the signs to know whether your skin lightening, whether it's becoming very extreme, whether it can be crossing that boundary into something that could mentally, there could be a problem?
I think the first thing that manifests is the physical aspect of it. So, like you said, there's nothing wrong with, toning your skin and taking care of your skin. And I'm not necessarily saying that there's anything with bleaching it either, right? But when you start to become obsessed with ensuring that, okay, well, I'm not as light as I want to be. I want to be as light as this other person, and continuously buying products and changing your complete image and identity of who you are. It's almost like looking in the mirror. Are you content with yourself? If my skin color doesn't change, am I happy with who I am on the inside? Because oftentimes people are not happy with themselves internally, and that's what you see externally. XY, skin bleaching, changing of hair, whatever it may be, relocating, because there's something that's going on within yourself that's causing that.
Let's say someone has been bleaching for a long time and they want to stop. Of course, it's not an easy thing to do when you've been doing it for so long. What are some of the, I don't know if it's to call it like mental exercises, or what can they do to try and, gain confidence back?
I think the first thing is, understanding the situation that you're in. So it may not be necessarily stopping the bleaching, but asking yourself, how did I get here?
Okay.
Where did this manifest? What went wrong? Because when you can think back, that you can trace it to whether it's something that happened in childhood, whether it was a conversation, whether it's something that you associate with being more advanced in your career or society. I think first the person needs to sit back and reflect and become self-aware on, where did this start from? Because if you can understand where it started from, it can assist you with fostering, actually stopping skin bleaching. So that's why I always say I'm very apt on, psychologists or individuals such as myself, because counseling, oftentimes people feel like, well, this person is advising me, and that's actually not what we do. We actually listen and then help you foster your own treatment plan. But oftentimes people need to voice out what it is and have someone to help them compile it and put it together. So it'd be questions of, where did this start? Were you bullied as a child? Are your parents light skin versus dark skin? Do you associate beauty with being darker or being less privileged with being darker. So understanding what those dynamics are could foster, pretty much getting someone to stop. Because for anything, whatever it may be, any addiction, you would have to get to the root of the problem. Where did this start? And then you can now help yourself on a journey of recovery.
Okay, and what can we do as a people? What can media do? What can we do to kind of help this situation we have on ground? Like you said, the statistics are alarming. So what can we do to help?
I mean, I think even before we get into media, it's about personal, it's about self. Because we've had different campaigns with Dove and all these ones that show a person that's darker. They use Dove, they wash their skin, and all of a sudden they come out lighter. Do you understand what I mean? So it's universal. It's a global epidemic that people are dealing with in one way or the other. I believe positive affirmations, being happy with yourself, telling yourself, I love myself, I love the way I look, I'm not my skin tone, I'm not all these other things, but understanding who you are from deep within. I think those are the most positive things. But I feel like it also, in our race, it has to do with colorism and shadism, like we said earlier. Not making letting there be a separation between lighter and darker. It helps in the things that we do. We shouldn't put one skin tone versus another. Project one and put one on a pedestal and then put one and make it seem like it's below. Because when you elevate one, more than likely you're decreasing the other. So let there be unity. I know that some other brands are starting to do it where you now have women of different shades. I think that's why I was most attracted to Rihanna and the Fenty products, because what she did was show that, yes, we're all black. This isn't about colorism or shadism. I'm going to make a skin product, a foundation that fits every tone in our race. So it allows there to be uniformity and inclusion, and so there's no separation. So you don't get, well, I don't have your shade. Well, why don't you have my shade? It used to be like that. It used to be, but now so many people, I mean, even, Nigerian makeup artists, I believe Jane, she's coming out with different complexions that fit different women so that we can be happy with ourselves and we're not changing. So media has its part, but I think it starts with self.
It's interesting you say that, because I feel like a lot of people blame media first. They say, I want to be light because all I see is light-skinned people, or like in the media. But what you said is almost like, kind of, you have to take ownership and responsibility as well to try and love yourself.
Yeah, because we see so many things on TV. We see smoking, so why aren't you smoking? If they advertise smoking too. They advertise war and violence. So why aren't you attributing yourself to those things? Why is it just this that you feel like, since they're advertising it, then that's what society's doing? We're able to, we have the ability to choose and make decisions. So we're choosing one versus the other. Why?
Thank you for following us on this journey, exploring and uncovering the truth about bleaching here in Nigeria. I, for one, have learnt a lot, and I sincerely hope that you found this information useful. We truly hope we've been able to get you thinking a lot deeper into the why we do what we do. This remains a non-judgmental zone. We simply wish to touch on topics within our community to encourage healthy discussions, no matter your opinion. Ultimately, what stood out to me is the importance of self-love and acceptance. Please do subscribe and look out for our next docu-series. Thanks for watching. Lola OJ TV.